All right, now let's break this one down. This one's going to be a lot of energy, a lot of fun. SMU, the ACC runner-up. Penn State, the Big Ten runner-up. The battle of the runner-ups. Who's it going to go to? JP, you break this one down for us.
Yeah, looking at this matchup and kind of how everything laid out, I think this is one of those draws for SMU that they probably don't love just based on the type of team that Penn State is. On the other side, if I'm trying to compare SMU to somebody that's been on Penn State's schedule, I'm thinking it's more of a USC with a better defense, right? They have the ability on the outside to make plays receiver-wise. Kevin Jennings has been a really efficient quarterback. They have a good run game. And honestly, like the defense doesn't get the love that it deserves. Like it was put in tough spots last week in that ACC title game. They were clamps in the second half and played great. Looking at what Penn State did in the Big Ten title game, I mean, I said that I was like, if you're a Penn State outside of winning that game, could you feel much better about where you are offensively? I know it hurts defensively to give up numbers like that, but Oregon's done that to everybody. So I think that's one spot to really worry about here is SMU's defense on the back end. And they've stopped the run well when they've played teams, but they haven't been challenged with a run game like this with a two-headed monster in the backfield and an efficient scheme that Kittle Nicky runs for Penn State, right? So that's a tough part for me there. Penn State and Aller, like Aller's been good, but when he's under pressure, he hasn't been great. And that's what SMU does is just pressure. They consistently are bringing 5-6 guys. They're making sure they get to the quarterback and change drives, right? We're getting them behind the sticks instead of letting guys go 70, 80-yard drives on 15 plays. For the flip side of things, I think Kevin Jennings has a chance here. If that offensive line for SMU can keep him upright. Last week, they really struggled with that in the first half. The ball was in his hands too many times or too late into a play clock, that kind of thing. If they can get the ball in and out of his hands, I think they have a chance with the weapons on the outside to move the football. I'm worried that the run game kind of won't get going the same way it has in other games, right? Like they're going to have to throw it to open up the run game in this situation, and that is a worrisome spot with this Penn State team. It's not a matchup I love for SMU by any means, but I do think there's a real line here that they can stay in this thing and have a shot to win it late. If they don't absolute shoot themselves in the foot 17 times in that first half last week, they win that game, and I think they win it handily. I mean, you can't make up the stuff they were doing to themselves last week. And Clemson benefited from it every time. And then when they played head-to-head football in the second half and it was clean on both sides, SMU kind of ran away from it and then give up a kick return with no time left and set up a field goal, just bad stuff. I don't expect that to happen again, but I don't like this matchup as much as I do for SMU, as I did with Clemson last week. So Penn State here is in a good spot. I think they feel really good about themselves, as they should. I think that their run game is really going to have a chance to be showcased in this matchup.
All right. Interesting coming from the guy in the SMU gear. What do you think on this matchup, Jake? Break it down for us.
Feels like SMU has nothing to lose, right? All of the pressure was on them to, stay competitive and just keep it close or just go out there and win the ACC title last week in order to get your shot at the college football playoff. Well, now you did. And basically, JP said it. You had the worst start you've had basically all year in the first half, and then you kind of battle back and make it a game. But the way they responded showed me a lot of what could happen in this football game on Saturday. They outgained Clemson by 100 yards. They had 8 more first downs. They won the football game statistically. Now that obviously doesn't pay dividends in the result all the time, but I think it's something to build off of. And you're going to Happy Valley with a chip on your shoulder, and basically, like I said, you got nothing to lose. And I think that's dangerous with a quarterback like Kevin Jennings, who can go out there and make plays. I think JP's right. I think they're going to struggle to run the football. So he's going to have a game like he did in that second half versus Clemson. If it was encouraging to me also that Penn State can get into shootouts if for some reason SMU goes out there and plays out of their minds offensively, but it has to start with Allen and Singleton running the football. I think they both rushed for over 100 yards against Oregon last week. Not just one. I do think it's going to take 2, especially without Pribula, because now SMU just focuses all on Drew Aller. Aller's asked to make a little more of playmaking ability inside the red zone and things like that, it's going to be all on his shoulders now. Pribula is not there to help him out and save him. So the running backs are going to have to help Aller out as well.
I think you both made great points on Penn State's running backs. I think if you look at the matchups on paper, you look at SMU's defense and what they've done against the run this year, and it's super impressive. Under 3 yards a carry. But on the other side, Penn State's offensive attack over 5 yards a carry, almost 5.5 yards per carry. That's just a credit to their elite backfield. I think that's the matchup to watch. That was the first note I had is, can SMU slow down the run game enough? With dual backs, that hurts. That hurts their chances to do so. But the point Jake just made is very good. Pribula being out makes it a definite one-dimensional look unless they run out a wildcat look, because Aller's not going to do it with his legs. He has the ability to move a little bit, but he's not going to make the impact Bo would have. So it definitely gives an upper hand to the SMU defense to take advantage of it. We mentioned it last game where it was 2 in-state teams, but we got to mention it this game. The weather's definitely going to be impacted. It was 72 degrees today in Dallas, and that's where SMU is practicing. They're not going to be able to match the noise that they're going to experience up there. I've seen Happy Valley already have snow on the ground that they've had to push off the field. So if they slow this game down, it gets into a rushing battle, you got to give the upper hand to Penn State. I don't love the matchup for SMU either here, JP. So I like the Nittany Lions because of the situation and where the game is played mostly. What do you think, JT? What's your breakdown of this one?
I'm glad you brought up SMU's run defense, Parks, because as good as Penn State's rushing offense has been, Penn State is top 3 in the country in opponents' yards per rush and top 10 in yards per game. So I don't really think it's going to be a situation where Penn State just runs all over SMU. And it's kind of like the Indiana-Notre Dame game that we were talking about, where if you get your best strength taken away, are you versatile enough in other facets to figure it out? And in this case, I do think Penn State is. I mean, with Tyler Warren and Drew Aller this year, they've been a problem for a lot of teams they've been playing. And as much as I like Kevin Jennings and this SMU offense, they're very versatile in their own right with having multiple receivers and targets. I don't think they have a single receiver over 500 yards this season. And you can look at that as a strength or a weakness, but I see it as a strength in this matchup because it's difficult to prepare for, and we've seen them play in difficult scenarios coming back in that ACC championship. But if they get down in a situation like this where it's on the road and in a cold environment, not on a neutral site, I don't really think they'll be able to rely on Jennings to make the comeback that he did against Clemson. So I think they could keep it close, but I have a hard time seeing them pull the outright upset over Penn State.
All right, there it is. It's a full breakdown. Let's go round table style score predictions. Who wins, who covers, who's the difference maker? Jake, you go first on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to put my trust in Kevin Jennings. This feels like a lot of pressure on Penn State. You get the home game, James Franklin, 12-team playoff. This is what you're built for. Some people have this as their dark horse for a national championship contender in this format. So I think SMU comes out firing. They come up just short. I'll go 34-27 Penn State, but SMU covers.
All right. When I look at the backfields in this one, I got to give the upper hand to Penn State. Like I mentioned in my preview, weather, huge factor. I think Penn State can do enough to keep their offense on the field, keep Kevin Jennings and his explosiveness off the field to just outlast this SMU team. I like him at home. The whiteout's going to be nuts in the cold weather. Just a great spot for Penn State and James Franklin to finally get a statement win to get the world and college football media off his back. So I like the Nittany Lions to win the game. The number's a greasy little spot. So I could see the offensive talent do enough to stay within a touchdown or add a touchdown. But I like Penn State to win the game. And if they do, I think the difference maker is going to be Singleton. What do you think, JP?
I was going to go 31-24 Penn State here. I think they stay within the number, but I am worried that this gets a little bit late, and as the game goes, they get a little desperate and try some things. It doesn't work out that way. That could end up in a double-digit win for Penn State. But I just think you can't play as poor as you did last week twice in a row. So I'll take SMU, and I've been backing them all year with how I think they are talented and one of the better teams in the country deserve this spot. So I can't just jump off that train now and be out on it.
And it's of note if they do start that way again and fall behind like that and on the road in this spot against this Penn State defense, it's going to be even tougher to come back like they did against Clemson. JT, give us your score prediction to wrap it all up.
Yes, sir. I do think that both these defenses are going to do a really good job of stopping the run, which I think could end up in a lower scoring game for these two teams, which you think less running would be more passing, so more points. But I think both these teams are going to try to run the ball, so it's going to end up with the defenses showing up, it's going to be a little lower scoring. But I do like Penn State's versatility over SMU's they're just a little more versatile on offense, have a little more depth. So I still have them pulling it out. I've got Penn State 28, SMU 24.
All right, there it is. Penn State, the group pick to win the game. SMU, a couple of us picked to cover. That one should be very fun. Check that one out on TNT. Scorebug alert. First time we're going to see the scorebug over on TNT and the announcers over there.
How many people do you think this will be their first time watching college football game on TNT this year? I guess were their games on TBS? TNT they actually never had.
Yeah, TNT. This is the first one I can remember. The CW.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be. Pretty sure this could be everybody's first game.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I was thinking TBS because I watched some TBS this year. TBS
and the CW.
All the same network.
It's the same network, but very different. This is NBA Thursday Network for all you people.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
rattle it off the top of your head.
Is Shaq doing the Shaq doing the game? Shaq
I don't know who's calling it, but
Shaq's going to show up and start talking Auburn.
He will.
I'm pretty sure if it's the same crew, at least for the post and pregame show, I think it's Champ Bailey. I cannot remember who else is on it. It's definitely interesting. They're not doing ESPN announcers for their TNT's hiring their own guys, right?
I would assume they're going to use their own guys, like a Kenny Albert or something like that. That would be my assumption, but we'll see how it goes. I'm more interested in the presentation. New scorebug. I wonder if they're going to use it universally because we got both networks in action, ABC and TNT. TNT has back-to-back ones, so we'll talk about it next. But this one should be very fun. Drop your score predictions below in the comments for a chance to win a free No Rivals cap from our partner at No Rivals on us. You pick the hat. We ship it to you. So drop that score prediction today. That's game 2 of the college football playoff 12-team first round.